I wish people were more like stars. For stars may be dead, yet their souls aren't. And people may be alive, yet their souls aren't. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this poetry audiobook of The Blackhole of Dreams. This book is written by my very dear friend Garima Bajpai. This video is for you, all of you. So, this is a collection of poems she wrote, and this is a self published book. So, I've recorded my voice and very amateur attempt to be a voiceover artist. So enjoy the poems. I have put the chapters in the description below. Jump to like specific poems as per your convenience or whatever you like to hear. Hopefully I'm capturing the essence of these poems. They are very beautiful and you can get the copy of this book in the description box. I put the link. So go ahead and buy this, read from this book and listen to my voice. Enjoy. The Magic Wand. Nothing will ever happen, nothing ever happens. Just the wind blows by, just the seasons whistle off. Sitting here by the window, breezing through this illusional time. Waiting for something to change, something worth the life. Something worth the dream, something worth the pain. But nothing ever does, and just like that, the infinity of my existence ceases to be. Being nothing more than a momentary pause. As I kept on waiting for the magic to endure, all this time, and alas, I look back and see with regret and pain that all this sadness was not worth it. For nothing ever happened, for nothing ever changed. Because I waited for the magic to happen, never realizing the magic wand was I. Shining through the moonlight, from the shallow depth of the sublime truth, alone, adrift against the flow, came life. Gently as the breeze shining through the moonlight, shimmering through the night, bringing stars to this humble abode. As the waves lapped and recited a tale so very different from the usual tone, sitting through this all mesmerized, wondering the very question that no one knows yet everyone lives. To trade a life for a futile existence or to martyr oneself for the eternal sustenance, of which very little is known, of which very much is said. For just like the moonlight, it gets us past the darkness. But it is indeed the darkness that makes way for the light. One day I saw a man. One day I saw a man sitting alone outside a garden, old and ragged, lost in his own world. Perhaps smiling, perhaps not. He looked queer, strange and lost, but still profound in his adrift calm. Next day again I saw him there, still sitting the same way, still adrift, yet free. And I asked him if he was lost. He eyed me and then around me, at the crowd, at the mayhem, at the joys, at the rush, and then again at me. This time smiling along, a know-it-all smile as if he didn't listen, as if he didn't care. Don't pay attention to him, a voice said, the gatekeeper. He's mad. But I asked him anyway, Sir, are you lost? He was still looking at me, not a bit troubled by the gatekeeper's intrusion, as if he didn't listen, as if he didn't care. His eyes, warm and dark, as he said, No, you all are. And sometimes, to this day, I look upon at the sanity of this world, staring blankly at the sky, at the meaningless voices, at the worthless chaos, and I wonder, perhaps he was right, perhaps we all are indeed. It is okay to be wrong. Sometimes it is okay to be wrong. To fall in the pit covered with mud and the crowd laughing, calling you names to destroy yourself, to burn. To kill your timid being which worries about the frowns of the unknowns of the average crowd. Who wants you to be like them? And so they will ask you to rejoice in these chains, in the hypocrite personas and in the superficial smiles. For sometimes it is okay to be wrong in the eyes of this prejudiced world. To be called insane, haywired amidst the majestic sane. So worship this chaotic madness, for that makes you you. And so sometimes it is okay to be right only in your eyes. And silence whispered. Silence dropped and the windows locked. Not a bird chirping. Darkness outside, darkness inside. As loneliness crept in. In the stealth of this night and embraced us, I wondered, where did I go wrong? And the silence whispered, the quietness kissed as the stars twinkled, perhaps winked, and answered, You didn't, the world did. After so long, Beneath the stars with a broken heart, he lied down on the grass, home, after so long. The chaos ringing his head, he shut his thoughts, a teardrop rolled down, seemingly pearl, after so long. And the wonder of loneliness enwrapped him, silence spoke, his soul enthralled after so long. And he closed his eyes and breathed for one last time. And as the ground soaked him beneath, he smiled forever after so long. Insatiable insanity. It's tough to remain sane when you can see the masks falling off, when the hardest thing sometimes is just to be. When you know these hypocrite smiles which glowed up your life were only a selfish stab, plunged deep in your heart with a friendly knife. It's hard to remain sane when you see this tragedy, this monotonous denial, these carcasses of fated lives being celebrated as humanity, where sheer corruption, sadism, the quench for blood is considered rational, and you have to agree, otherwise you'll be guilty. A beautiful life they call this, so say the same. Call this delusion majestic, and worship the money god as you're supposed to stay sane. Stay sane in this fallacy of a world, this masquerading show, free of cost in worldly terms, as the entry ticket is nothing precious, just your soul. Or be brave and embrace the truth and rise as the morning sun by being what you are and not what you're told. For the very human thing to do sometimes is just being a human. And so I tried and tried to make peace with my solitude. For sometimes you can be a rebel by just being you. And I loved my freedom, my solitude, I still do. But somehow, someday, loneliness crept in, as sorrowful drops of dew. Tears solidified and stayed like a bullet in my heart, pierced my soul and made me a slave, my soul pricked by glass shards. Maybe that's what they call a paradox. Happy in my solitude, yet lonely in my heart. Found, yet lost. And broken between these two, shredded and torn, I slowly die within, as a martyr in this abysmal war, or a coward in human form. My bluebird's gone. My bluebird has stopped calling, I can't hear him anymore, and as I walk alone in this shadowy path, I miss his voice and those constant knocks. And as I swallow down a pint, this time not to hold him but to hear, in hopes to listen him chirp, to hear him twittering again, his wings fluttering, wobbling inside my heart's cage. And as the moon's glints off through the corner of the tree, I continue walking, shuddering, heaving solitude in my heart, voided as the bluebird's call. It's been a while, I realize. I'm heading towards the abyss, searching for light in my bluebird, to pull me back, save me from the advancing doom. But the bluebird in my heart has stopped speaking. I miss his voice, his songs, and those constant knocks. And as I swallow down another pint, I understand. I'm not sad for he's gone, but because he's gone forever. I'm sad, dreaded, because I killed him and myself along. And with him dead in my heart, I'm nothing but a graveyard. All alone, but together at last. I feel so lonely amidst a crowd, lost amongst these pretentious smiles. My soul craves for the unworldly desires, shrieking for freedom chained by the mind. So I walk off to a path unknown, my demons pricking my soul to stay. The voices shouting, the memories lying, calling me back to these graveyards of lives. Yet I walk off from these facile beauties, seemingly drifting to the darkness, but way beyond these shallow sculptures I walk and find a field full of stars, twinkling and shimmering with dewy shadows, with mesmerizing beauty and unnatural peace, and I reach there and find my home, and I laugh without any prejudiced stares. All alone but together at last, I free my soul and dance. You see a demon. You look at him and see a demon, the red in his eyes scarring you as if mirroring the devil himself. But it is the eternal tragedy of his heart, frozen red for when his tears bled. His scars which haunt you trace a history of the very essence of a lost soul. His dark shroud isn't symbolizing the darkness inside him, but enveloping his grievances from this tragic world. You say he chose wrong, but in a world made of black and white, grey is rarely found, and in that greyish little crevice you'll see how the world ceases to be a game made of choices, but a deeper entanglement exists, where he exists as a soul as he was always meant to be, and never as a tainted being. So now when you see again, when you look closely, you'll see an angel in the guise of evil, and you'll see his eyes read with love and not with hatred, as the world made it to be. You are a demon, preach that sin. Beneath the monster hides a soul, crushed and broken without hope. It craves for love, it craves for more. But the vanity stands and the ego beholds. The soul trapped can never show the cravings, the tears, the longing it sows. A single tear falls, the loved ones leave, the anger shoots, the heart weeps. But what to do? What to think? You are a demon, preach that sin. And so the beast wins and the human dies. The heart wails while the ego survives. Falling for a monster. Oh, they asked me why would I fall for a monster? They would know if they could see their hidden faces, lurking behind the tranquil shadows of a human demeanor, but viler than the hellish beasts. They would know if only they could see beyond their blind hatred and devilish deeds, so naively disguised as something human, purer than their aesthetic, hypocritical smirks. And that is why I will keep falling for the monster while they'll keep shedding their skin instead. An ode. Talk to me about the stars and I'll write you odes. Talk to me about the mountains and I'll always smile. Talk to me about magic and I'll wave a wand. Talk to me about your voids and I'll invoke your soul. Talk to me about rains and I'll drizzle along. Talk to me about everything and about nothing, as my heart bleeds, about sorrowful joys, about demonic angels, and about this illusion termed life. Withering away. We withered like autumn leaves with time, dewy regrets, shaded by a hue of gloom, but then a texture of warmth shadowed our hearts, and we were withering like autumn leaves with hope. Stars. Stars speak to me, they speak upon me in my dreams, laced with mysteries and magic, dazzling as ever, deepening my soul, and I sing an ode in my dream. To the twinkling hopes, to the mesmerizing beauties in this abyss of darkness, to the shimmering drops, and they listen and whisper and smile through their twinkle. My mind's numb, but the soul hears as they tell me how they're missing me too. Why the stars shine. As we succumb to the worthless desires and the incompetent ambitions, as we climb up the ladder while ripping off our flesh for the nectar of pretensions and snobbery, as the squall of socially defined appetite gushes our insatiable hunger for the illusion of an astonishing virtue. As all the material things demonize our budding soul, the real talent withers off right in front of our sight, hidden, plainly yet unachievable. And as we realize how worthless this race to the zenith has been upon reaching the nadir of our lives, we look up for hope and atonement, for love and acceptance, for memories and repentance. And isn't that why the stars shine? For a day we never ceased, and we'll keep consoling ourselves for the fate we didn't choose, for the path we didn't lead, and we'll keep justifying our choices for the tomorrow that never came, for the yesterday that forever ached, and we'll keep living this lie of a lie for a belief that we never sustained, for a hope that we never materialized, and we'll keep glorifying this defeat with utmost honor for a courage we never had, for a day we never ceased, and live in this denial forever, weaving a cobweb of illusionary circumstances. For a victor never chooses his battle, only his sword, and lets his blood etch over the mightiest of hills to echo over and over forever. Fading away. And how we are just fading away as sprinkles of dust, as showers of rain. Just fading off, just withering away. Flowing away as a stream, shimmering off as a dream. With jibes of life, with music of souls, with memories to save, with tears to let go. Just fading away with this fading time. Living each day, yet never living a lifetime. Writers. Writers are no artists, they are schemers and pretenders. They con you to a fake world. They rob you of your dull existence. They make your reality miserable by fabricating a better world. And sell this lie as a book, a drug for your soul, a drag of pure bliss, an intoxication of a divine denial. A Merrier Soul. I have tried so many times to never fall, for people who eventually change, for people who eventually vanish, for people who eventually become mere memories, mere fragments of a happier time. Yet I fail, but I don't regret. Because life is about drowning into this ocean of feelings and perhaps dying in these emotions, hurt and wounded, but never poor, sad and lonely, but never alone, devoid of love, but never hope. without a body, but a merrier soul. To break again. And it broke. With the sunshine enthralled and the twinkling stardust embraced, with the ever adoring smiles and the ever shiny eyes, with all its endurance and dream, and all its moonlight dusky gleams, with all its perpetual hopes and all its shadowy copes. Alas, the heart broke, and dazzled in all its broken pieces, forming a shimmering sea of stars, regenerating again as 100,000 more, ready to allure again, ready to endure again, and yet ready to be broken again, to fall and reform again. Tomorrow won't come. Tomorrow never comes, or maybe you don't gather the courage to embrace the darkness of your dreams, to fan the untamed flames of uncertainty, to quench the thoughts of impending struggles. So you let tomorrow die in a merciless nightmare, while you keep dreaming of altering it all the while. All the while, simple existing in the present, weaving a long infinite today which never fades away. While you are still dreaming, unaware of the nightmares surrounding you, unaware of the destiny waiting to be treasured, unaware and unknown. For tomorrow never comes, for you never let today end. Dawn. As your ashes dissolve in this inevitability, I'll feel you in as the breathing air. I'll feel you in as the breezy wind. I'll feel you under the curls of my hair. I'll feel you in the rhythm of my heartbeat. I'll feel you under the brisk of my eyes. I'll feel you in the spontaneity of my smiles. I'll see you twinkling as the gazing stars. I'll see you shimmering as the pearly dews, vaporizing as if you were never there, vaporizing as if you are always here. And even in your ruins, you'll be my soul. Even in your wreck, you'll be my mold. Even in your shadows, you'll be my light. And when you're lost, you'll be my path. And even in your end, you'll be my dawn. You'll find your angel. So don't let your heart break with the shallow myths of this hysterical world. Let your heart nurture the wounded scar, the broken soul, the fractured courage, the blinded vision. Let it be dead and buried in the narrow eyes of this pretentious world. So give your heart away but not your hope. And as you lay lifeless without a soul, but a shadow, clear and pure, you'll find your angel who'll look for you. Not in the midst but your shadowy self, and resurrect your soul to where it happily ends. The shadow. Neither of us was to be blamed. It was the fault of perhaps the fault in our hearts. Or maybe fiction for recreating love as something pure, something abstained from even a hint of selfishness. For sketching characters so imperfectly perfect, for weaving tales of souls, not bodies, for writing an ode to humans, not bots, for the very deep layers unfathomable by these superficial minds, for making us read hearts and not just words. Neither of us was to be blamed, for it wasn't our fault to be lesser than mere fragments of imaginations. For it wasn't our fault to be just human codes running through these cobwebs of societal systems. For it wasn't our fault to exist in a world full of hatred and conspiracy. For it wasn't our fault to objectify and judge. For it wasn't our fault to exist in the wrong realm. The illusion. I sat there crying as I saw the moon waning, mellowing down its brightness as if diminishing my very soul. I saw the moon disappearing, leaving the sky sombre and dark, as if carrying away all my hopes. I was upset as the moon kept dwindling away, fading off to somewhere unknown, as if seeding darkness in my heart. I sat there crying, unaware and unknown, of the timid star hiding away, pecking through to startle my gaze, shining brighter and brighter all along, trying to sniff all the darkness away, trying to guide my way through. Yet unaware and unknown, I sat there crying, amidst all despair and distress, wildly depressed and shattered, cursing my fate and longing for the moon, while all the while the star echoed through with intensifying glory and content, with hopes and dreams, with passion and desires. Yet I sat there crying, unaware and unknown, that the star is my angel and not that fading moon. Flying in the night sky, flying in the night sky. I'll embrace the darkness and crave for the stars. I'll inhale the dusky breeze and never miss the sun. And then I'll flap my wings and whirl myself and fly in this night sky. I'll look down at the hopelessness, at the mysteries and the masochism, at so many worlds and yet a single breath, at so many walls and broken paths. But I will fly high and high, above the negative notion of positivity, above the shallow perceptions of vision, above the ritual irony of human lives. I'll fly and fly and fly, above all these doves and similar symbols, above all these cupids and angels alike, above all these falls choking our throats. For I'll embrace my demons and be an owl and hoot as loud as I can. I'll hoot and flap my will and create my own stars and skies and create my own wings and live my life as I design. To shine. My voice echoed the empty halls of my despair, my soul screeched the bars of my imprisoned courage. My heart battled the adrenaline of its fear, my vision struggled its way through the teary dismay. For I could feel the dream hulking through this brawl to break off the nightmare that chained me all along, dwarfing all my sorrows and tearing through to shine. Loop. Waiting to be pondered upon, waiting to be discovered, by the tiny universe in you in a loop forever. And I'll be a metaphor for your world full of skies and sunshine, and I'll seize and exit for the idea of your serenity in a loop forever. And some days I'll be your sun, and some days I'll be your moon, and on others I'll be a falling star, hoping to wither off only to be born again as a hope in you, as a hope for you in a loop forever. Spaces. As the spaces flow off between the sagacity of words, unnoticed yet inevitable, meaningless yet meaningful, unworthy yet prominent. Maybe we all flow too as these spaces, beautifying the existence between these cosmos. Maybe we'll all flow too as spaces in a story, incomprehensible. Maybe we all flow too as spaces signifying the life of those dear to us, unnoticed, unworthy, yet the driving force. Why do I always end up writing about stars? Why do I always end up writing about stars? Maybe to feel attached with an idea of beauty? Why do I always feel close to something so far away? Maybe to shatter the walls built up around me, escape to my idea of a better world? Why do I crave for them all to fall, so I can hope to rise? Maybe to learn to hope, to pray, to know withering off is not the end. Why do I search for infinities? Why do I hope for impossibilities? Why do I live to see my dreams shattered? Why do I fight to see my light fade off? Maybe to explore the reasons for my existence, maybe to witness something better, maybe to think bigger, maybe to forge my dreams stronger. So next time I either fall harder or rise with the stars again, shinier and more zealous, stronger and more fervent, brighter and the brightest. Wavering the Zenith Further away. Lately I've been thinking of all the maybes and what ifs, of all the buts and howevers, of all the reasons you could save me and all the reasons you won't, of all the perpetually damaged emotions, of all the obnoxious anxieties, of everything and nothing at all. Lately I have been thinking of the biased shades of luck, of the mystery engulfing us, of the choices left untouched, of the mistakes proven just, of infinities and universe, of the stars and dust, of everything and nothing at all. For maybe we all are living a lie, a shadow glimpse of something better, a broken heart, a dusky life, and a burdened soul. To waver off the zenith further away and hope for more shooting stars. To fly in an alien sky. You'll say I'm an impending disaster. I'll say maybe I am. You'll say I'm anxious and weird and pessimistic, and I'll show you the mirror. You'll say I'm worthless, and I'll shut off my ears and eyes and search for my broken wings, for my legs are tired walking the path so concrete. So maybe I'll fly in an alien sky and discover what I am rather than being what I am told to be. A celestial illusion. Maybe just shower me with your false promises. Just drape me with that celestial lie, agonizing the beauty of a star. Maybe just drown me in your soul. Just caress me with your demonic waves, enveloping with your ethereal abstraction. And maybe in all your satanic verses, In all your angelic smiles, I'll fade off as a shooting star and dawn in as an eternal sun. A letter to stars. Even further than the comprehension of the word far, you still seem just a twinkle away. And in just that wink, in just that serenity, in just that perpetuity, I find solace which I never could. In these facades of life, a U-turn away. Your silence brings me hope which these million voices couldn't. Your persistence brings me peace which these million souls couldn't. And when you wither off like a shooting star, still inducing hopes and smiles, promises and joys, even in shadowing of your essence, you bring me love, you bring me desire, you bring me courage, and you bring me a will to sustain always and forever. The magic of words. How beautifully ironic it is to find solace in words brimming with pain. How poetically destructive it is to sow phrases of your losses. How regrettably imprudent it is to have the stories console you. And how insanely effective it is to have these words embrace you. Despite the irony, despite the reality, despite the mockery, because they'll be your only constant in this ever-changing actuality, because they'll never camouflage away. A good day until the best one. What makes you go through the day? What makes you sleep through the night? Just the thought that somewhere in a parallel universe, all my dreams are real and all my sorrows are nightmares. Aren't you capable enough to make that true in this universe? Perhaps. My heart is, but my mind isn't. My soul is, but my conscience isn't. You should know to fight that, right? Or maybe I choose to sleep off a peaceful good night, with the possibility of a better tomorrow. Maybe I choose to believe. Maybe I believe and that is how miracles happen. And maybe one day these two universes will collide and that day I'll cry my euphoria off. But until then, have a good day. Learning to live again. Because in your most regrettable moments, when your heart is nothing but an empty hole, you look up in the sky and see the stars bestowing upon you in the most perfect way possible. And while the stars twinkle, you blink off a tear from your eyes. And irony embraces your miserable heart as your emptiness skips a beat on seeing a falling star. And in your deepest, darkest corner, you learn to wish again, you learn to hope again, and maybe you learn to live again. Beauty and the Beast. Amidst the shelter of his deceptive shadows, amidst the paradox of his princely demeanor, amidst the sheer innocence of his devilish charms, she subdued her angels for his intoxicating demons. She subdued her existence for his ghostly enticements. And in all his mystical paragons, and in all her humanly airs, and in all their euphoric aura, they scintillated the universe, and she facilitated her life. Your shooting star. Perhaps all I ever wanted was to be a distant tiny star in your life, to distract you of your troubles, to guide you when your moon is not around, to observe your sadness and twinkle it all away, to be a tiny spark of light, of hope, when all you could embrace is darkness. Perhaps I never wanted to be a moon, just a star far, far away, ready to fall off, ready to sabotage my existence just to make your wish come true. A star in the galaxy, the sun in the sky. Sometimes you feel the loneliest in the world. Sometimes you wish to adrift. You want to share your sorrows, your secrets, your very footprints for life. You long to be understood. You long to be accepted by the mere shadows of your secret desires. Your heart bleeds 100 wounds and yet it suffices. Your soul is threatened, your existence questioned. Your life is but a rare mystery of hopeless expectations. But you are a warrior hidden amidst the mockery of this world. The very words that hurt you, the very glare that disgusts you, prompts as your shield. And you survive as a warrior, you survive as a king, you survive as a mere human being who is as lost as a star in the galaxy and as prominent as the sun in the sky. A parallel universe in you. With a broken heart, I'll write a song. Maybe ages hence, you'll sing it along. Unknown to my unrequited love, unknown to my unfathomable adoration, unknown to the personification of its lyrics, unknown that they define the aura of you. You'll sing it with the world, you'll sing it with my heart, and perhaps for once we'll synchronize along. Not knowing that the song is you, not knowing that the artist is me, and maybe then you won't judge me, and maybe then you won't hate me. And maybe then you'll realize the purity of my affection, and maybe then you'll realize the divinity that you are. And maybe then you'll know that all I ever hoped for, that all I ever wished for was a parallel universe in you. Falling for a scarred soul. And yes, you won't be missed by those vanities. You won't matter to those you hold so dear. Yet you keep hoping for a miracle to set things right, wishing for them to endure you as you do them. And with that deep wish of a parallel universe, you bury yourself deeper and deeper. Unable to devour your flaws, unable to wipe off the blemishes in your heart, you finally learn. Learn to smile off your sorrows, learn to deal with the frailties of life, the wrath of existence, the emptiness of being unloved. And you finally embrace life for the way it is and fall in love with the scarred soul of yours, which is beautiful as beauty can be. Am I in love? Am I in love? Yes, I am. With the tranquility of the ink that washes away all my troubles and paves way for hope and belief. As it flows off the page and fills its emptiness with words to dive in, words to live on, words to escape through. I am in love with those words. I am in love with those thoughts, those ideas that pop off my mind to let go of my fears. I am in love with the beautiful feel my heart undergoes while the words type on that subliming burden, that serene pulse. I am in love with the ideas that make way through my mind, elegantly transforming the sorrows I feel into the happiness I deserve. And I escape through my pen and I am never lost. I fell in love with the dead poet. I fell in love with the dead poet. I know it sounds unreal, too crazy to be true, but isn't that the beauty of poetry? To make your heart wrench as magic flows through your veins, as eloquence enthralls your senses, transforming your reality into a dream, surreal and mesmerizing and supposedly untrue. So I fell in love with the dead poet. He was all I could ever think of. He was all I could ever breathe, and we spoke through his verses. As my heart pumped through the spaces and I walked along these meadows in his strange magical lands composed of his serenity and shadows and flowing through his pen. That's how I fell in love with the dead poet, as he mirrored his emotions through his various thousand worlds, and I felt his heartbeat through his love sonnet and saw his eyes shining in a scenic verse, where his soul caressed mine. Wrapping his arms around my shadows, he brought me back to the living from this deadly lie of hollow men. And so, I kept falling in love with this dead poet, as my demons withered off and my soul recovered from various grazes, wounded and battered in this tough world. He stood by me when I was the loneliest, though long dead yet more alive than so many beings in disguise. It may sound absurd, I know, but it felt like angels singing the rhythm of my heart as I met him beyond the concept of time and death and stayed in love with this dead poet forever. One day I'll write a story. One day I'll write a story without a hero, without a savior, just normal people like you and me living life as it's supposed to be. Frustrated and tired, searching for the treasures, with broken hearts and soulmates alike, with stress and glee swinging along, with loss and gain dwindling along. A story so vivid even colors would feel faded. A story so heavenly even angels would feel longed. A story so celestial even stars would feel lost. Yet a story so ordinary reality would feel betrayed. And so I'll write this story about you and me, about our ordinary love in this rare world. Just ordinary things, just ordinary talks, and you'll be surprised how extraordinary it will be. Something of a life, and I subsided off my thoughts and sat there upset, in this whirlwind of emotions, gazing up at the blanket of stars. When I realized it isn't about me, it isn't about this world. It is only about how poignantly this disaster could be carved. To be something of a miracle, to be something of a song, to be something of a fortune, and together gets embraced to be something of a life. You'll open a window. You'll open a window and see your world. A world without souls, a world without beings, just a world, a void, an emptiness, seemingly lifeless with so many life forms, creating an irony of existence, an inhumane humaneness draping the dreadful. And you'll still open that window and name it life. Art, music, and words. Amidst this chaos and hatred, where do we find our souls? Amidst this materialistic narcissism, where do we save our souls? In a world where love has succumbed, where do we romanticize our souls? If not art, music, and words, where do we revive our souls? Silence is the loudest shout. Sometimes you just have to gulp that anger down, to fan it with proper love and empathy. There's so many reasons to shout these days, to see the devil and overthrow his crown. And it takes a lot to take a bullet sometimes, it takes a lot to fall and drown. But in the end, it's for the best, for love knows and you do too. It's the silence that's the loudest shout. The Eden to hell. There's so much to hate and so less to love. Perhaps that is the sadness which echoes this world. You might not hear it, but it is there. In every sneer remark, in every casual vehemence, in every tear mocked, in every difference jeered. You might not know it, but it is there, creeping, crawling slowly off the well as a snake poisoning this Eden to hell. When I die. And when I die, don't bother to miss me. Don't bother to care, just be the beautiful pretension that you have always appeared. And maybe even when I'm dead, I will love you so, for I keep falling for the lies even knowing them from so close. Your facade charmed me and it always will. My death will just be a shadow for the love that mesmerized me, never was and never will. And so when I die, don't bother to love me, don't bother to care. For I always knew your facade was real. Magic. We read prose and inhale poetry, while living this lie of a life, too scared to break these chains, yet courageous to unwind this magic brimming within. And as this magic tears us apart, our soul shrieks and bursts with a spirit unknown only to unravel the magic hiding within. We dream of nightmares. I want to be everyone and no one. I want to be the flower that smells of angels. I want to be the poison that scares the devil. I want to be the worst and the best. I want to be a paradox such that even death shall crawl. I want to live in paradise while staying in hell. I want to be a bug yet roar like a lion. I want to dream of dreams and I want to dream of nightmares. To be the horror and bliss, to be gay and gloom alike. And in all these contradictions and in all these consistencies, I'll be a human in this universe. And the universe and this human together and alone in these infinite bounds. Everything is burning. I see the stars shining. I see the men screeching. So much anger, so much pain, so much sadness, and so much mockery. And I observe and listen to the tortured beings, to the sadist souls, who worship the money god and would never stop. The chaos, the screams, the envy, the hunger would make even the devil ashamed. For his face is red with blood, pure and transparent, and not disguised with hypocrisy, pale and opaque. And so I look back and gaze again at the sea of stars far away and realize they too are burning just like us with our impure filth. The Mirage. Alone amidst the zealous crowd, I sat down near the parking lot. Stars twinkling above, lovers mingling below, watching the charisma, the magic endured from a distant place in my lonely solitude. Peeking through my eyes, trying to smile, being there, yet not being alive. It's sad when I say so. I am called crazy, and I am asked to love, as pretentious as it may be. I smile and move along, back to my own world, sitting along the fence trying to make sense. And as I walk by my gardens of dreams, I find a star only waiting for me. I want to show it to the world, but I don't know if I should. For the love I know and the love they know is not the same as same words should. And so I hide it in my heart, right beside my soul, and the two prisoners smile at the real prisoner me. Slowly I notice his twinkling is dying down, his shine fading as if representing my soul from within. But still we move on, waiting and hoping. For one day I know either it will wane off or shine the brightest, and I'll drown or shine along with him. The safe place. Like the full moon you shine, like the new moon you disappear, but in you I find everything that is dear. But away from the sanity of this world, when I run away, I find you waiting for me in the night of this day. You embrace me with your silence, you nurture me with your magic, and just like that you teach me how beautiful it is to just be. In this chaos, in this conundrum, in these pretentious shadows of love, how beautiful it is to exist, knowing everything yet knowing none. 2 a.m. and you ask me why I am still awake as the clock strikes 2 o'clock past midnight, and I smile and shrug, unable to fathom how to tell you that it is always 2 o'clock past midnight in the dusk of my heart. Love letter. If I could sing, I would have sung a song for you, so beautiful that the nightingale would have envied. If I could dance, I would have danced for you, like a peacock enthralled by raindrops. If I were a magician, I would have conjured and conveyed through the magic that is you. If I were an actor, I would have portrayed your aura in the very acts of the sublime life. But I am none of these things, yet I have everything in the form of you. And my heart is full of feelings so unreal and pristine as I weave these amateur words and promise to love you so always and beyond always too. Dostoevsky. Just living this life so different and weird, and more than a century apart, I wonder how Dostoevsky survived, and through his words helped so many of us to survive and keep surviving. For as I look out the window, wondering the very ways this world appears alien to the dying human in me, I see a light in the form of his words helping me through this abyss, helping me through this darkness, as he makes me see the futility of it all, yet makes me see the worth of it all. A writer's dream. There was this writer, so celebrated and famous, successful in worldly terms, which appeases the normal. And I chanced upon him once, but to my disappointment or expectations, I cannot say, I realized he was nothing more than the average story, the average charm, so true to this sane world, pompous and mediocre. While there lies a writer, unique and beautiful, hidden in the shadows of the shadowy world. Away from the glory, away from the charms, incomprehensible and strange, to the average success being. He writes to feed his soul and not his ego or hunger, which makes him a success in its real authentic terms. This world might call him odd or mock him around, or worse, might not know him at all. But through his pen, in his shadowy essence, as he pours off his heart, he weaves magic and conjures a world so different and pure, devoid of all the selfish gains, brimming through pure love, just existing and thriving like art always was meant to be. To the stars and beyond. And as the autumn leaves were falling off, paving way for a new season, there stood a flower, alone and swirling, beginning to sing a lovely song. It was beautiful, different, not your normal daffodil, but a rare rose that starred like a twinkle as it sang this song so soothing. But the marigolds despised it. Envious of its glory, still it blossomed and mesmerized the sky along, while waiting for someone to listen, to look and realize what it takes to be so beautiful and unique, yet so hard to understand all the time. But they could not listen to its call, they didn't know how to, they didn't want to. As they were happy with the fall and the dances of the daffodils, they are happy still, unaware of the flower's call, unaware of its charms. And so the flower saw the love from a far-off land and felt so trapped, and with all its love it overflowed. The world could not contain it, as it was busy with mediocrity, and surprisingly one day it swayed along and was crushed with the fall. But the breeze still flowed and the beauty echoed in this tragic departure of a flower so fallen. And as the cries deepened and loss realized, the swan song resurrected, the flower revived in its dead bloom. with the regrets charmed as an immortal fragrance, immune to autumns and harms, and stayed forever, shining through the darkness as the morning star. Moth. As a moth, I wonder what makes me so drawn to the light of this tomb, this non existence, these breathing corpses standing upright. Where love is bargained and talent monetized, where slavery is tagged as the dream so blissful. Is this the cost of being alive? Is this the deal with the devil in disguise? As we drag and burn through this hell in the flames of the invisible chains, this illusion to be a paradise, and just like a lost moth, I am drawn to this destructive light, appearing to be the sun, but an abyss lurking beneath. Perhaps just like that moth, I will burn in this flame, unknown and alone, in the shadow of a shallow life. What is a human being? I am all the poets I have read. I am all the authors I have inhaled. I am all the songs I have dived in. I am all the artists I have loved. I am not just a human being. I cannot be defined. I cannot be measured. As my multitudes are vast, my euphoria brimming, through these finite dimensions of an idea eternal and unique, as deep as the ocean, as distanced as the stars, unfathomable, uncontainable, and incomprehensible. I am not just a few decades of earthly years, but infinity personified. Another night. Another day comes, another night begins, as the light of the dawn shines for everyone but you. As the birds chirp beautifully, but it is haunting you. Not the birds though, it is the dreams you saw when you were young and when you were you. Now you look like yourself, but you are just a shadow as you are trapped in your own shell. And as the day begins, the night remains for you because it is easier to pretend than face this defeat. Of the cowardice you were so revered, of the smile so easily faked, of the excuses you built, of this dream you buried. Down with yourself in the grave of your bones. Still screaming and shrieking, but you are deaf to those. In the joy of this pretension, in the delusion of this life, and so you keep on living this nightmare, killing the dreams of your might. Schrodinger's cat. I saw a dream last night. It was so weird. I was lost in its oddness when the Schrodinger's cat appeared. Surprised, I exclaimed, "You're such a puzzle. Can you answer now? Are you dead or real? I want to know what you are, as I want to know Shakespeare. To be or not to be haunts me. Would you at least care?" And just like a Murakami tale, the cat shrugged and walked away. "You should know that yourself," a voice echoed, and a mirror appeared, where I saw myself but the cat, as if I was both yet none. A paradox so close, a paradox so real, and I woke up realizing the strangeness of the dream, the senseless of it all, or was it the strangeness of this life that won't allow me to make sense? A friend of mine? I have a friend who is happy. He is content with his life. He talks about politics and world affairs while traveling back to his cocoon, to his wife and son, to a job he loves, while complaining about the world and everything that's wrong, but never complaining about his own life. He is proud and arrogant with everything he's achieved, a beautiful wife and a wonderful son, winning school races while bullying the mate's son. He flaunts about his new car and the expensive ring he gifted his wife, but never about the bonus that was not given to his driver or the lights. And he flaunts about his perfect son, who is so sophisticated and everyone around envies him and his perfect life. He's happy indeed and so successful and blessed. It's been years since I've met him. He no longer picks up my calls. Maybe a poor lonely poet is not such a good company. He's a good friend indeed, but I am blessed in my tragic life, not envying such sadness in disguise. For one could be anything in this world, but sometimes it's enough to be kind. Solitude. How beautiful it is to stay alone, in the company of books and the experiences they tell, with the smirk of an intellect, with the shrieks of an idiot. It is beautiful to juggle through these contradictions, where you will find your own world, your own battles, your own treasures. where you'll discover a company so surreal that the universe would appear your closest friend. And in this solitude, as you converse with stars, you'll see and discover it's not you who's alone, but the pretentious world. The black hole of dreams. The wish to be the greatest, the dream to personify success, only to succumb to the monotonous desires, only to be free while trapped in chains. And so the dreams collapse in a black hole, so treacherous, absorbed of forever, along with its light, to never escape again unless when you are asleep. And in that black hole of your dreams, you see your dreams, screeching and imprisoned, asking you to help, but you run away and wake up calling your dreams nightmares. In the Madhouse. I once visited an asylum with a friend. I sat in the verdant as visitors were not allowed, only family. And as I sat there waiting, I saw so many lives, so many worlds within this tiny space. But one girl attracted me the most. She was sitting blank, staring at nothing, yet everything. I went to her and asked what she was looking at. At myself, she said. Still staring, but there wasn't any mirror. I have traveled back in time with this time machine I built. I saw a small wooden box on her lap with wires and buttons crawling about, and now I'm here, just born. I wanted to kill myself then, and I'm unable to now, or be as if I was never born. I was perplexed, did not know what to say. Alien to such a feeling, alien to such an escape. So all I said was this: but if you kill yourself then, or you were never born, who will build this beautiful machine and who will tell me so? She looked at me and smiled, looking at me for the first time. You're right, she said, and threw away the machine. Can I take this with me? She nodded and ran away. Just then my friend came back and we left the place. I still have that machine and sometimes I think if it actually works. For it's been so long I'm trying to make sense of everything and nothing at all. And this machine right here, built in pure innocence, sometimes appears sanest of us all. Kafka's bug. Kafka once wrote how being a bug sometimes is a cause to identify and know your soul. For hiding in this human shell, living a life so meaningless, just blindly following, the intelligence so dictated, the path so chosen, the pattern so woven, with fear lurking behind this practicality, is akin to living like an insect in a human shell. And so Kafka wrote how once you are aware of the slaved reality, it's always better to live as a human in an insect shell than an insect in a human case. There is no right left. I see wars, I see peace, and sometimes it's hard to realize which is which. The leaders ploy, the leaders act, and we just drown in the stage, so collapsed there isn't a right or a wrong, or a right or a left. Just shallow lies casted as truths. And when I turn to art to save my soul, they call me delusional while sinking in their illusionary wells. His red eyes. While the devil sees through his red eyes, while his heart bleeds but face smiles, while he dies and comes back, while he kills and then rejoices. But is he really the devil? For the shadows in his heart are dark enough to engulf light, but in his abyss of forever suffering, he exists and thrives, as a misunderstood angel, as a broken king. And when he glances upon us mere human, he sees the hatred, the sins, as money rules and humanity dies. He sees the hypocrisy, the cruelty, as tears flow through while holding a red knife. And he laughs and chides God for fooling him, for fooling all. For humans are already in hell, trapped in an illusion of their mortal lies, defeating both God and Satan alike. And so he falls again and loses his ground, but this time more human than the humans alive. The dream, the life. We'll be lost on a hazy ground, beneath the shadows of the starry sky. We'll be lost in each other's eyes, craving love as it was meant to be. We'll be lost in this hellish abode, smiling through the heavenly pretense, and I will wake up from this paradise only to be lost again, with the idea of you and everything charming. and I will wait for you to come alive, to save me, to save my spirit, to be perfection like an angel, but that's too much for a soul to be. So I will smile and sleep again, for dream is the place to be. The Castle of Glass. There is beauty in the horror of a dream so broken, so shattered like a castle of glass, like a house of cards. But there is more beauty in the fear so clenched, yet the courage so vivid that these shards don't bleed anymore. As these dreams are then mended and forged again into another castle of glass, now glistening like diamonds, which shines through the fear, the courage, the anger, the sorrow, the blood, the pain, and shines through forever and ever. I really hope you liked this audiobook, and this was very different for my channel as well. Let me know in the comment section below like what do you feel about it, and you know what to do: like, share and subscribe. Thank you, bye, see you in the next video.